Okay, so far we got what we know listed, and now we want to know what we need to know more about. What we did was we gathered all our ideas and put it into one column, and now this column we would like to have more explanation. But first, in order to get more concrete ideas about what we want to know, I will ask each student to come up and show me what they believe their ideas are by creating an illustration, and this is called a model. So, has everybody heard of what a model is, scientific model? It's exactly what that is. You just draw what your ideas are in your mind, what you think. So before we do that, I would like everybody to please close their eyes. Imagine there's toast in the toaster, and it's in another part of the room in the kitchen, and you're standing at the edge of the kitchen, and that odor comes into your nose. When you breathe in through your nose, you're smelling, and imagine how you're able to smell that odor. Imagine how it gets from the toaster to your nose, and think about what that process is, and I'll give you another 3 seconds. Then I'll ask student number 1, could you come please draw me what your idea is in this box. Student number 1. Illustrate what you see in your mind, how the odors travel from a distance. Don't be afraid to label any idea that you have. For instance, if you're drawing air, then you could say that it's air, write down air, so we all have an understanding of what your model is representing. Maybe we could have student number 2 also come up and illustrate, so that way the time could be under 10 minutes. Is student number 2 ready? Maybe number 3. Student number 3, there's more room at the bottom. Would you like to come up and at the bottom square and draw what you believe the process is of how we smell odors from a distance? And how do you believe it gets from one place to your nose? So in the meantime, I would like to just remind you of some of the ideas that we had. What we said that we know is that odor can be smelled through our noses from a distance, and we want to know how it gets there. Some of the ideas that we had were from air, wind. We know that it escapes, but we want to know how, and that's where these illustrations, these models, are helping the scientific process, knowledge processing develop, so that we can determine really what the process is that's taking place when we actually do smell an odor from a distance. Could I have student number 2 please come up and illustrate how do we smell odors from a distance in this box here? And if you can label whatever your ideas are, so like for instance, like I mentioned earlier, so we can better understand what you're aiming at. projecting. Can you actually describe to me while you're drawing what it is at the same time?
The kid smelling the toast.
Okay. The kid smelling the toast. Would we say that toast is a good smell or a bad smell?
It's good.
Depends how burnt they are.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. So what we have here in our models, we have 3 models. The first model, student number 1, could you describe your model to me, please?
It's a guy smelling the smell of toast.
Okay, and what I see is that there's little wavy lines coming out of the toaster, and you call it air. And then a big straight line going from the direction of the toaster to the person's nose.
That's a smell.
So this is a smell, and when you draw it, like earlier we said that we cannot see the odor that we smell, and you use wavy lines for air and a straight line for smell, which is a good way to identify what you're trying to project. So what I would like to ask you, student number 1, is do you believe that smell is actually one straight line?
No.
No? Would you say that smell could actually be wavy lines?
Possibly.
Possibly. Do you think that these wavy lines are tangible, that we can touch them?
No.
So you think that they're more, because they're invisible and we can't touch them, do you think that they're more minuscule, like smaller in a sense?
Yeah.
They're smaller. So they're very tiny wavy lines?
Yeah.
Would you say like the wavy lines representing the air are tinier than the smell, or the smell tinier than the air, or do you think they're the same size?
Same thing.
Same. Okay, well that's good. That's interesting enough. So we'd say same size. Okay, and student number 2, could you describe your illustration to me, please? I see that you have wavy lines for coming out of the toaster and wavy lines going towards your person. The wavy lines coming out of the toaster, does that represent air or odor or both? Or could you tell me what they represent?
Smell of toast.
So each wavy line that we see in your illustration is all an odor?
The
A
guy
smell?
walking by the toast.
Okay. So they're all just the smell of the toast?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the wind and toast.
The wind and the toast? So would you say that these lines are the toast and these lines are the wind, or they're all together all the same?
Those are toast and the other one's the wind.
Okay, so toast. I'll label it for you. And you said this is wind?
Yeah.
Wind. So when you say that's the toast, the smell of the toast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So smell of toast. And student number 3, could you please explain to me what your illustration represents? I see you did a good job with labeling. You have toaster, you have
More concentrated towards the source and less concentrated away from the source, and then you have the nose.
wow, that seems like a very advanced explanation, yeah,
Yeah.
of your ideas. That's very very good. I like how you displayed your model for us. So what I would like to ask now is, when you say it's more concentrated when you're closer to the source, so the source being the smell of toast?
Well, yeah, the toaster or the toast
Okay, the smell of toast.
Well, actually, the toast is the source. The smell is what comes out of the toast. So it's the smell of the toast is
So
what's
these little-
more concentrated.
Are these little dotted lines the smell of the toast?
Those little dots are actually particles of scent coming from the superexcited molecules of water escaping from the toast under the action of the toaster.
Okay, so this label represents these dots then, okay? Smell of toast, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and now you have, oops, less with two S's, but that's okay. You have less concentrated smell away from the source.
Yeah.
Okay, less concentrated smell away from the source. Okay, that's very good. Can anybody identify, sorry, that's time up, 11 minutes. Now we'll get to the third portion of the presentation where we'll ask the next question.